Hey, what's up, everybody? Steve Schwartz here from LSAT Unplugged, joining you today to share your 5-month LSAT study plan. Before I get into it, please do me a favor, like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It really helps with that YouTube algorithm, and I really do appreciate it. So, you're taking the LSAT 5 months from now. What should you do? How should you prep? Which parts of your prep should be focused on drilling questions, which parts on reviewing the fundamentals, which parts on timed sections and full-length timed exams, and most importantly, review. In this video, I'm going to break it all down for you, adapted from material inside my full LSAT courses, where we offer live online classes via Zoom, study groups, and on-demand video lessons covering the basics. So when you're looking at LSAT prep over a 5-month period, here's how I recommend allocating your time. I call this the LASER approach to LSAT prep. LASER is an acronym standing for learning, accuracy, sections, exams, and review. 5 phases, 5 months. Should it be simply 1 phase per month? Not quite, because some of these aspects go together. For example, learning the fundamentals and working on accuracy through drilling questions by type go together. So do taking full-length exams and reviewing in depth. So I recommend that you spend the earlier portions of your prep focused on reviewing fundamentals with learning, L for learning, and drilling questions by type, A for accuracy. Once you feel that you have a solid foundation, then you move on to individual timed sections, reviewing any questions that you get wrong or have difficulty with, and finally, full-length timed practice tests to properly simulate test day conditions while, once again, reviewing any questions that give you trouble or that you get wrong or that you're even getting them right, but you're not totally sure of. So I recommend roughly following this approach. Take the first month or at least to just get the fundamentals down, meaning you're looking to get a proper perspective on the different sections, different question types, and the proper approaches for each. In my LSAT prep courses, I actually have an entire section of the course called Foundational, where we focus on exactly this: building the fundamentals, learning the different question types, learning the different approaches for each section and each question type. There are roughly a dozen or 15, even by some counts, types of logical reasoning questions. You have ordering games, grouping games, and combinations of both, along with some weird curveball types. And of course, you have different types of reading comprehension questions and passages. So this phase of your prep, focus on simply building the fundamentals. Spend roughly at least 1 month on this. Once you feel that you have a solid foundation, then you might want to work on drilling the different question types in month 2, meaning you work on flaw questions by type, strengthening questions by type, ordering games by type, grouping games by type, making sure that you are not lacking in the fundamentals or lacking in the proper approach for each of those question types. If you determine or identify some weak areas, then of course, devote even more time to those sections and to those question types. This should roughly take up, again, part of those first 2 months. The first 2 months will be a mix of fundamentals and drilling to work on accuracy, learning and accuracy, back and forth. So you, for example, if you're a student in my course, you review the fundamentals videos covering a given question type, then you drill questions of that type out of the official LSAT exams. Some people use books, but since the LSAT is online, I do recommend using Law Hub in order to get a better sense of what test day will be like. Then in month 3, you're largely transitioning now to individual timed sections to work on your pacing. So you're taking timed 35-minute sections under standard testing accommodations, meaning that you don't have any extra time or anything, just standard test timing, 35 minutes per section. I never recommend timing individual questions or individual games or individual passages because there is variation in difficulty. So for games, some people will time them 8:45 per game, meaning 8 minutes and 45 seconds per game, since 4 games times 8:45 gives you 35 minutes. But not all games are of equal difficulty, of course. Some games will be easier, some will be harder. Some games, like the notoriously difficult CDs game from Prep Test 31, featured in Legally Blonde, That game is one of the toughest logic games of all time. Certainly, we could not reasonably expect anyone to complete that in only 8 minutes and 45 seconds, not even Elle Woods. It would reasonably take most people on their first attempt, maybe 11 minutes, maybe even 12 minutes, but that might even be okay because there's another game that's much easier that you might be able to do in 6 minutes. So long story short, don't time individual games or passages or logical reasoning questions. Just aim to complete the full section in roughly 35 minutes or even a little bit less to have a safe buffer. That's largely month 3, but in reality, what's going to happen is you review the fundamentals on logic games, for example, you do different games by type, and then once you've completed all of that, then you're all ready to start doing timed 35-minute sections of logic games while then moving on to the fundamentals in, let's say, logical reasoning, as you might in my LSAT study plans. That's roughly, though, completed by the end of month 3. Then months 4 and 5 should be focused on primarily full-length timed exams along with reviewing them in depth. And by the way, of course, you should be reviewing every question that you get wrong or have difficulty with or are not totally sure of throughout the entire 5-month period. How do you review? I recommend using what I call the Socratic review method to pinpoint exactly what is holding you back in a different section, in a given section, in a given question type. So for example, in logical reasoning, you'd want to see, is your misunderstanding stemming from the stimulus, the question stem, or the answer choices? Check out my other videos for more on this. I've done a lot with the title Socratic review method. And of course, I cover this much more in my LSAT prep courses. But let's circle back to the full-length timed exams for a minute. What do those look like? Test day itself will be timed 4 timed sections with a 10-minute break in the middle. So you're doing 2 timed 35-minute sections back to back without a break, simply a 1-minute countdown between sections 1 and 2. Then you have a 10-minute break during which you can actually leave the room, go to the bathroom, get a breath of fresh air, whatever. Then you have 2 more timed sections back to back, and that's it. You can do the writing sample before the exam or afterwards. Doesn't even have to be on the same day as the exam itself, but you do want to complete it, of course, relatively soon because you don't want there to be any delays in getting your LSAT score back. But again, 2 timed sections of 35 minutes each, 10-minute break, 2 more timed 35-minute sections, roughly taking a little bit over 2 hours. You want to work on this for several repeats, meaning that you're doing several full-length timed exams before test day itself, so that test day feels like just another run through. You don't want to get fatigued. You don't want to get burnt out. You don't want endurance to be a factor. So just as during the timed portion of this study plan where you're working on pacing with 35-minute timed sections, you're working there on pacing. Here, you're going to work on endurance so that you're not fatigued by the end of the exam, that you're feeling pretty fresh even at the end of section 4. Obviously, you're going to be a little bit more fresh on section 1, but you don't want to be so tired that your performance noticeably drops off in sections 3 and 4. That's why I work on endurance so much. We're devoting an entire 2 months of your 5-month study plan to this portion alone. Anyway, folks, that's the study plan. Again, the framework is laser, learning, accuracy, sections, exams, and finally, and most importantly, review to learn from your mistakes. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please once again, like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to this channel. It really does help, and I really do appreciate it. And of course, please feel free to reach out to me personally if you need anything at all. Just shoot me an email, help@lsatunplugged.com. And of course, you can find out more about my LSAT prep courses by clicking the link below or to join the waitlist to find out more when the doors do reopen. Thanks again for watching, folks. All the best and take care.